So, good evening, Mr. McHale, members of the Board of Education, and valued members of the Closter community. Adopting the annual district budget is among the board's most important responsibilities. With tonight's approval, the school year 26-27 budget will be implemented as we prepare to welcome our students back in September. Yes, you heard it right, September. All right. So before we begin, I want to take a moment to recognize the people who made this budget possible. To the Finance Committee, Mr. Edmund Choi, the Chair, Ms. Melody Finkelstein, Ms. Janine Maisera, and Ms. Abhishek Ravid, thank you. Your time, your questions, and your commitment to this process made this a better budget. To Mr. McHale, thank you for your leadership and your steady focus on what matters most, our students. Your guidance throughout this process, as always, kept us grounded in the right priorities. And to our building and department leaders, Ms. Diane Smith, Principal of Hillside Elementary School, Ms. Christine Cipollini, Principal of Tenneco Middle School, Ms. Lori Cohen, Director of Special Services, Mr. Joe Scaglione, Supervisor of Buildings and Grounds, and Mr. Vince Salvati, our Network Engineer. Each of you and the teams you lead provided the information and insight that shaped this budget from the ground up. This was truly a team effort. The men and women on this slide carry a responsibility that is not always easy, making financial decisions on behalf of an entire community. Approving a budget that balances rising costs with the needs of our students and the concerns of our taxpayers requires courage, careful judgment, and a genuine commitment to this community. So to each member of this board, thank you. Your decision to move this budget forward is commendable, and it reflects exactly the kind of leadership Closter deserves. So tonight's presentation will cover the following topics. What has our district accomplished this school year? Where do we stand with enrollment? How is this budget developed? What does a budget fund? And what is the tax impact on Closter homeowners? We will walk through each section to give you a full picture of how this budget was built and what it means for our schools and our community. I will now turn this over to Mr. McHale to highlight our core values and district accomplishments.
Thank you. So before we get to the actual numbers of the budget that Mr. Villanueva will present, I want to ground everything that you're about to hear in what drives our decision making. These beliefs that are posted here aren't just words on a slide, they're the foundation of how we prioritize everything that we do and all of our spending. We believe that every student can learn and can thrive, that great teachers are the single most important variable in any classroom, and that instruction should meet students where they are. So every dollar in this budget is connected back to these values. So as we walk through what we've accomplished and where we're headed, keep this in mind, that this is the why behind all of what we do. This slide gives you a snapshot of the academic work happening across the district this year. At the district level, we've been focused on strengthening writing instruction, particularly for our special education students through Writing Revolution framework. At Hillside, we rolled out new math textbooks with teacher training to support it, and we built our literacy infrastructure both through a new literacy committee and through data tools like Dibbles, AimsWeb, and Linkit that help us track how our readers are progressing. At Tenneco, teachers are using benchmark data across all core subjects to make smarter instructional decisions, and we've refreshed materials in English language arts, we've added new Spanish resources, and we've invested in ed tech platforms that extend learning for our students. At both schools, the use of student data to inform instruction was one of our district goals this year. And the thread running through all of this is intentional investment in curriculum, in tools, and in the professional development that helps teachers to use them well. A strong academic program, though, is only part of the picture. Here we're highlighting on this slide the ways that we're supporting the whole child through enrichment, through intervention, and through the community. Across the district, we've maintained our after-school academic assistance program for students who need additional support, and we've strengthened how our related service providers deliver interventions. At Hillside, our 3 integrated preschool classrooms continue to serve our youngest learners very well, and we've kept a strong focus on character education and the arts through programs like eye care and school concerts. At Tennekill, it's been a standout year for enrichment. Our debate team is back. The TREPS entrepreneurship program gave 6th graders real-world business experience. And our Science Olympiad team proudly qualified for nationals for the 2nd year in a row. We invite everyone to attend the upcoming Grade 7 Passion Project Showcase and the Tennekill Middle School Art Show scheduled for May 28th. These programs all matter because they develop the skills and the confidence that students carry with them long after the school day and long after the school year ends. They also develop skills that are identified in our profile of a Closter learner. A positive school culture doesn't happen just by accident. It takes investment in both people and in facilities. At Hillside, we established a principal advisory committee to strengthen our homeschool connection, and a local recreation grant helped to fund a new playground. At Tennekill, it's been a championship year in athletics. Our volleyball, soccer, and basketball teams all brought home Northern Valley titles, and we've also made meaningful facility improvements, including new lockers this year, updated traffic flow and signage to improve the day-to-day experience for students and families. And every student in grade 5 through 8 has a one-to-one Chromebook, which is a direct investment in their ability to learn and access information. These are the kind of improvements that signal to students and staff alike that we're invested in the environment that they walk into each and every day. We also believe that investing in our teachers and support staff is one of the highest return investments that we can make. And this slide reflects all that we do to make that commitment realized. Across the district, selected staff and professionals received CPI training to better support students with challenging behaviors. Our child study teams were trained in updated assessment tools to strengthen special education eligibility processes. And we held HIB training and assemblies across all levels to keep our schools safe. At Hillside, paraprofessionals received targeted professional development throughout the year, and the school received a focused literacy grant to implement mandatory K-3 literacy screenings. At Tennekill, staff engaged in data-driven instruction PD with Strobel Education, giving teachers concrete tools to use assessment data to improve classroom outcomes. This investment in our people directly shapes the quality of instruction that our students receive each and every day. I want to take a moment and just let the images on the next few slides do the talking. What you're seeing is everyday excellence. Our students competing, creating, performing, and collaborating. Championship athletic teams, students coding and building in our maker spaces, concerts and performances, broadcasting school news.
You just have to keep them pressing.
I didn't know they were all coming up one at a time. I thought the slide was showing the whole thing at once. Cultural debates, cultural celebrations, debate competitions, science experiments. I didn't know they were all coming up one at a time. And so concerts and performances, broadcasting school news, science experiments, these things are not extras. They're evidence that our investments are working. When we talk about responsibly using district funds, this is what it looks like in practice. Students who are engaged, challenged, and proud of what they're accomplishing. And this is what Closter Public Schools is all about. Now back to you, Flora.
Thank you. Yeah, I surprised Mr. McHale with the slide transition. So the presentation will be uploaded on the district website, so you would still see the wonderful pictures of of the work in Closter. All right. So as we near the completion of the 2023 bond referendum projects, I want to walk you through the financial summary on this slide. The table shows 5 line items. The first 4 are construction contracts. The 5th line reflects professional services fees, covering architect, financial advisor, bond counsel, district attorney, and other consultants tied to these projects. For each project, you will see 3 figures: the original budget amount, the final cost, and the resulting bid savings, with the exception of Tennekill Middle School Gym HVAC project. All projects came in under the original bid. As a result, we are very pleased. With. At the close of the fiscal year, our auditors will certify the actual excess funds remaining from the referendum. The Board of Education has several options for returning the remaining referendum funds to taxpayers. These include completing projects consistent with the original referendum question, or presenting voters with additional projects from the Long Range Facilities Plan, or issuing a straight refund to taxpayers over a 17-year period. So the Finance and Fiscal Plan Committee is working on a recommendation to bring to the full board and the community. We expect to share that plan once we have gathered all the necessary information in consultation with our professional advisors. The enrollment data on this slide reflects our most current figure as of April 20th, 2026. During the preliminary budget presentation, I shared the March numbers, both compared against the October 15th snapshot, which is the state's official count date for state aid purposes. This slide captures a movement between those 2 points in time. Enrollment is not static. Students enroll, as Ms. Cipollini mentioned earlier. They're expecting 1 more student at Tennekill tomorrow, so this number keeps on changing. The shifts you see here, while incremental, are a reminder that budget is built on projections based on best available information at a given moment. As the year progresses, those numbers can change, and our programs and services must adjust accordingly to meet students where they are. This graph shows our enrollment trends over the past 10 years. After a dip during COVID years, enrollment has recovered and stabilized. Understanding these dynamics is essential for sound budget planning and ensures we continue to provide quality education to all our students. One of the things I am most proud of in Closter is the sense of community that extends into the budget process itself. Building a budget requires timely, accurate information from many people, and that only works when there is trust and open communication. So I want to recognize the Closter Education Association for its support throughout the process. Over the course of the budget development, I reach out to staff asking them to share plans that directly affect our projections. They're smiling because it is true. Whether they're taking graduate courses to advance on the salary guide, changes in family status that affect health benefits coverage, or retirement plans, these details shape how we build the budget. What I appreciate is that our association not only shares this information, but also helps communicate to its members why it matters. Because mid-year surprises during budget implementation are far more difficult to manage than early planning. That level of cooperation is not something every district has. I also want to acknowledge our administrators, central office staff, and grade level teams. The thoughtful and careful planning into building a budget of this size requires time, detail, and a willingness to think beyond the classroom. None of this happens without their commitment, and I'm grateful for every conversation, every email, and every piece of information they provided throughout this process. Our budget calendar begins in November and officially concludes tonight when the board adopts the school year 26-27 budget. Nearly 6 months of collaborative planning, financial review, governance and oversight, and a balanced decision making. Here is a summary of the key priorities reflected in this year's budget. Staffing. We are maintaining our current staffing level. Vacancies from this school year will remain unfilled to help manage costs without reducing services. Instructional resources. We continue to fund supplies, materials, textbooks, and web-based services that our teachers and students depend on. Technology. We are maintaining our student device program and continuing to upgrade our network infrastructure to support instruction and daily operations. Facilities and maintenance funding has been increased. Custodial services, ground upkeep to keep our buildings safe and well maintained will continue to be funded. Capital improvements, we have allocated $1,369,000 for facility upgrades and infrastructure improvements. I will walk through those projects in detail shortly. And we are also minimizing tax impact. We applied $255,000 from Capital Reserve Fund as a principal payment on the 2023 debt series, helping manage the overall tax levy impact. This, again, is a budget of stability. It is designed to protect what matters most, our programs, our staff, and our students, while remaining fiscally responsible to our community. Our fiscal responsibility includes finding ways to achieve operating expense savings. The district participates in shared service agreements and cooperative purchasing with the following: the Northeast Bergen County School Boards Insurance Group, or NESBIG, that's for workers' compensation, property, and casualty insurance. Educational data services, that's where we purchase most of our supplies and materials. We don't have to go on a bid, rather this is already done by the service. Alliance for Competitive Energy Services for natural gas. Hunterdon County Educational Services Commission for Apple products, as well as Morris County Educational Services Commission. Educational Services Commission of New Jersey for technology supplies and other equipment. Region 3 and Region 5 for special education services. The Northern Valley Curriculum Center, the Northern Valley Regional High School, the New Jersey School Boards Association Cooperative Pricing System, and the Borough of Closter. Although there is no direct services agreement, we are very appreciative of the Mayor and Council for working with us through police presence, the DPW, and the sharing of our facilities. I also want to thank the Closter PTO for organizing a school lunch program. We are fortunate to have such dedicated parent organization in our community. The budget presented tonight is the same one the board presented on March 12th. No changes have been made since a preliminary presentation, in which we covered the revenues in detail. So I will not go through every line item again, but I want to highlight a few key figures for the community and those who are attending tonight. The proposed general fund tax levy is 6.64%, made possible in part by $1,096,491 healthcare allowable adjustment. Our state aid is $1,652,351, down 3% from last year due to a slight enrollment reduction. An excess surplus of $650,000 is applied to this budget. We are also withdrawing $340,000 from maintenance reserve, $1,369,000 from capital reserve, and $255,000 again from capital reserve towards debt principal payment. Oops, sorry. Let me go back. The total general fund is $30,109,142. However, I want to highlight the operating revenue excluding capital reserve withdrawal is $28,485,142. So it's a little bit inflated if you compare numbers and numbers based if you include the capital projects, because those are determined on an annual basis. This year we decided to withdraw about 1.6 million for capital reserve projects. Last school year we did $900,000, so that's why you shift the budget. And so we always like to share what the budget means by pulling the capital reserve, because that is your operating cost. For grants and entitlements, oops, sorry, go back again. Uh-oh. There you go. For grants and entitlements, Title I, IDEA, and other local grants, for our local grants, almost all of our local grant allocations is from Closter PTO. And so a special thank you to them, whose annual donation continues to support important district initiatives, including school trips, assemblies, and major purchases for our students. On the debt service side, the total repayment is $472,275 after state debt service aid and capital reserve offset. The taxpayer share is really $56,719. The total budget for all district funds is $31,052,524. These three slides cover the full appropriation pictures across our three funds: the general fund, the special revenue fund, and the debt service fund. Again, nothing has changed from what the board approved on March 12. One of the most notable change is the reduction in special education out-of-district tuition, down over $254,000. This reflects the work of our special services team in expanding in-district programming, which is better for students and more cost-effective for taxpayers. That said, this is also one of the most unpredictable line items in our entire budget. We do not control student needs. Families could move into Closter throughout the school year, and a single student requiring an out-of-district placement can carry a significant cost. We budget our best based on the estimate, and this is an area we monitor closely all year long. The next slide covers support services, administration, employee benefits, and capital outlay. The two largest drivers here are employee benefits, up 31.56%, due to increase in state health insurance premiums, and as I mentioned earlier, is a capital projects. Those two items account for the overwhelming majority of the overall budget increase. Everything else on this slide is either flat or slightly reduced. This slide covers the special revenue and debt service funds. The special revenue fund reflects a return to baseline grant levels after prior year carryovers. Our federal grants, Title I and IDEA, remain in place. The debt service fund covers our 2023 referendum bond payments, significantly reduced for local taxpayers through the $255,000 capital reserve offset. The proposed budget has a per pupil cost of $21,921. Bless you. This slide gives a visual breakdown of how our overall budget is composed. Salaries and benefits, 76.84%. Other purchases services, 9.11%. The facilities and maintenance and capital projects is 5.86%. Professional and technical services, 4.61%. Supplies and materials, 3.21%. And miscellaneous is 0.37%. Understanding this composition is important. It explains why there is limited flexibility in a school budget. Most of our expenditures are driven by contracts and mandated student services. The areas where we have discretion are relatively small, which makes thoughtful planning even more critical. As for the capital projects, the $1,369,000 withdrawal from capital reserve fund includes the following projects, and these are all projects in the long-range facilities plan. The district has identified $61 million worth of capital facility improvement needs. We have built a capital reserve of approximately $7.6 million, which includes a planned $1.6 million withdrawal for the upcoming school year. Since 2019, we have invested $4.5 million in capital projects through the Capital Reserve Fund. That means we didn't need to ask the taxpayers to fund all these projects. Our capital projects this year are organized by scope. 2 are district-wide, 1 specific to Hillside, and 3 are at Tennekill. For district-wide projects, we have the phone system upgrade as part of the Northern Valley-wide modernization of our shared phone system and the interior door replacement. And this is just a phase. We have to do the projects in phases. At Hillside Elementary School, the sidewalk and curb replacement addresses uneven and deteriorating surfaces that pose a safety concern for students, staff, and families. At Tennekill, some vertical unit ventilators will be replaced. Lunchroom table replacement will address all the worn out wall pocket tables. And the network infrastructure phase 4 completes our 4-year commitment to upgrade network reliability, speed, and Wi-Fi connectivity across both buildings. Before we get to the tax numbers, I want to take a moment to explain again the environment we are working in, because context really matters. New Jersey law limits how much a district can increase its tax levy each year. The standard cap is 2%. However, the law allows districts to go beyond the cap with specific allowable adjustments. And this year, we are using the healthcare cost adjustment to offset the rising cost of health benefits. For health benefits, we absorbed a 32% increase this year with a 25% budgeted for 2027. Still a low number, as the mid-year report from the state actuaries has predicted even a much higher increase. So we'll continue to monitor how that's going to impact us in terms of our budget. So if the increase exceeds that amount, we will need to find ways to make up the difference. These are not costs we can negotiate away. They are driven by state health benefits program, and on top of that, we manage contractual salary obligations, rising special education costs that are entirely student-driven, and continued increases in utilities, insurance, and transportation. And yet we also have the responsibility to maintain the programs, our class sizes, and student support services that our community expects. Balancing all of that within a constrained revenue structure is a central challenge at every budget cycle. And we are not alone in facing these pressures. Across New Jersey, districts are confronting what many are calling a fiscal cliff, where costs are rising faster than the revenues available to meet them. In our school district, we have worked hard to stay ahead of that curve through careful planning and disciplined financial management. And let me walk you through what this budget means for the average Closter homeowner. The overall school tax levy is increasing by 5.52%. Again, breaking it down, it's $1,569,169 for the general fund, but a reduction of 81.31% from debt service, made possible again by applying capital reserve funds to the principal payment. So despite the tax levy increase, the average homeowner will see a reduction in the school tax bill. That is because Closter's total assessed property value increased by $198 million, close to $199 million. A larger tax base spreads the levy across more value, lowering the effective rate per home. As far as the numbers, the estimated school tax for 25-26 school year is at $8,173.34. And for the 26-27 budget, it is $8,046.28. That's a reduction of $127.06, based on the average assessed home value of $944,688. The numbers I shared are based on the average home value. Residents whose assessed value has increased significantly may see a different outcome. I also want to provide, again, some context looking at the full school tax bill. So when you see the school tax line, it reflects two separate budgets, ours and the Northern Valley Regional High School. So our K-8 serves 1,185 students right now, compared to the approximately 533 Closter students at the high school. That means we educate more than twice as many students. Over 68% of all Closter Public School children are right here in our two buildings. Both districts serve our community well. I simply want our residents in the community to understand the scope of what is delivered locally and the value that represents for every dollar invested in Closter Public Schools. So, as I promised, it was going to be a shorter presentation. As we close tonight, I want to take a moment to share the broader picture of public education in New Jersey. Across our state, districts are cutting teachers, closing schools, eliminating athletics, ending programs that communities have relied on for years. These are not abstract stories or news stories. These are real decisions affecting real students in real families. The combination of rising healthcare costs, growing special education demands, and the limits of the 2% tax levy cap is creating a financial environment that is increasingly difficult to navigate. Closter is in a different position today, and that did not happen by accident. It is the result of years of disciplined financial planning, a Board of Education willing to make difficult decisions, and a community that has consistently invested in its schools. That is what makes Closter very special. But our stability today does not guarantee stability tomorrow. So the same pressures affecting other districts are also present here. That is why we will continue to work closely with our board and administration to develop long-term sustainable strategies that protect our programs, our staff, the investment this community has made in its schools. So as we move forward, we remain guided by the three principles on our final slide. Fiscal responsibility, our commitment to the community, and student success. So tomorrow, the user-friendly budget and this presentation will be available on the district website under the business office section. Thank you to everyone in this room for your time tonight. I welcome any questions and comments from the board or the members of the public in attendance. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. As always, an excellent presentation that lays out all the components and the aspects that are considered in going into the budget. I think we thank you and your staff and the administrators for all the hard work in developing the budget. Your diligence is really what puts us in a solid place for the schools, and as we all know, all of our neighbors are struggling, and we are so appreciative of your hard work. I think even your creativity in finding grants and other ways to find money, your budgeting and your diligence, everything has been really appreciated by the board, so thank you.
Thank you.